I thought I'd tell you some fun facts about the Alice in Wonderland attraction here at Disneyland, but I thought I'd start here at this poster. This is in the tunnel as you go to Main Street, which is that way. So this is the original poster, very early poster, and you see the white rabbit looking down his hole because Alice fell down. But there's a couple things that show you the age of this poster, even though it looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's reprinted to keep it fresh. Down here it says "Through the Keyhole." And in the original attraction of Alice in Wonderland, which opened in 1958, you would go through, it was 2 doors with a big keyhole painted on it, and that doesn't exist anymore because the ride got a huge refurbishment in 1984. But one thing that was in this, that was an entire room that's gone, was the upside down room. You would actually enter and everything would be upside down. So it's kind of a little, I think of it as like a hidden tribute to the original Alice in Wonderland attraction here. But let's go on over and I'll tell you some more fun things. Now the mushroom behind me has a neat story because in the early days of Disneyland, to go on an attraction, you needed a ticket. And you could either tear one out of your ticket book or you could buy an individual ticket at the various rides. So this was a ticket booth and you could go up and someone would be inside. The window has been sealed up in the front, but this is an original ticket booth from Alice in Wonderland. Let's go on the ride. Although the original version of this ride opened in 1958, it was completely redone, as I said, in 1984 as the last update to a huge Fantasyland refurbishment.
The adventures in Wonderland began when I followed the white rabbit down the rabbit hole. All of a sudden, I fell. Down.
Looking for the white rabbit? Well, have a look around.
This is where the upside down room was. That doorknob is the voice of my friend Les Perkins. Now Les wasn't a voice actor, but he produced the audio for this and the other Fantasyland rides during the big update. Les went on to start and head the Disney Character Voices department in 1988, the department responsible for casting character voices company-wide. The animations that you see in this room and throughout the ride were added during a big refurbishment in 2014. That caterpillar voice is also Les. The music for this ride was scored and conducted by John Debney, who went on to have a huge career, scoring hundreds of TV shows and films like Elf, Hocus Pocus, and he co-scored The Greatest Showman. Now, the voice of Alice is Kathryn Beaumont, who was the original voice of Alice in the movie. She told me that she was concerned when she was asked to record for the attraction because it was more than 30 years later and she is no longer a little girl. But they did record her voice and she said they used it with very little alteration.
Good try.
By the way, we now climbed up to the 2nd level and we're above Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. The original version of the Alice in Wonderland ride was quite different. Things were very flat. The characters were just painted in 2 dimensions. It was impressive for the 1950s, but not as much in the 1980s when you had things like Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. Many of the shadows, like behind the white rabbit there, are painted just to give it more dimension. You know, the Queen of Hearts wasn't even in the original attraction at all. There's some more of the great animation added in 2014. So much of the dialogue and music cues in this attraction are triggered when your vehicle approaches, just to make sure that you hear it completely and at the precise time. That's why you'll always hear the Queen saying "off with their heads" instead of being in mid-sentence as you pass by. If you look carefully at the bottom of the book on the mushroom, you could see the caterpillar's shoes. Let me see if I could get them on here. There we go. It's like in the movie, the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, but his shoes remain. Well, we have one more room to go into, but when I rode this as a kid back in the 1970s, we couldn't go into that room. Right about here, we would turn right and go to the exit. This next scene was added in 1984. John Debney pulled all the original pages and pages of music scores from the movie so that he could make all the music sound very much the same, but in a format for a ride-through attraction. For the first 30 years of the 1984 update, Alice wasn't in this scene. It was just the Mad Hatter and the March Hare sitting there. Alice was added in 2014. And by the way, Les also did the voice of the Mad Hatter. If you like this, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time.